Today I have another library from Rock the Speakerbox to show you. This one is called Overkill, and it's a collection of hyper-real gore sounds that are great for horror or brutal action games. I wanted to have some fun with it and try to make something in the opposite aesthetic, which are these abilities from Overwatch. Before I start, I want to thank Rock the Speakerbox for sending the library over, and if you want to pick it up yourself, I have an affiliate link in the description with the discount code you can use. So I've redesigned two different abilities here, from the character Juno, who I think has a very bright, sparkly visual style, and 100% of all the sounds used here are from Overkill. So firstly, for the Hyper Ring ability, it's split into 4 parts, which are the character physically bringing up their arm and firing the projectile, the animation for the gate opening, the sustained loop, and then the gate closing. The main impacts for the ability firing are mostly fairly simple. I'm taking the initial hits from some of the building blocks and design sounds, and either beefing them up with some transient shaping and distortion, like this pumpkin crack, or taking the low end out and using them as sweeteners for the impact, like these gut eruptions. Because there's a lot of really bright, noisy impacts in the library, especially the stabbing and flesh hitting stuff. I also have this little zappy laser sound that I just made by taking one of the knife resonance recordings into Serum 2's sampler and giving it a really fast pitch envelope, which then plays when the ability gets fired out of the player's wrist. I also have some little accents here, which I got from putting some of the bone cracking sounds into Scanner. And I'm using those bone cracks again here, along with some other clicky sounds like blood dripping and the leather pillow rub to add some satisfying high mids around the impact, just using frequency shifting and transient shaping to tighten up the cadence. The final layers for the shot are just raw metal recordings from the library, reversed to give it some bright tonality and to lead into the different beats. So here's the impact all together. For the energy layers around the gate opening and closing, I have this clean subtone that's just one of the knife resonances pitched way down with the high end taken out. Then this little bit of the scanner source I made with some tremolo, flanging and reverb. There's some more scanner stuff when the gate closes as well. This kind of wobbly layer is made from these arrow whistle sounds, layered in Serum 2 with a really fast pitch LFO to give it a kind of old school sci-fi sound with some phasing. It's getting reversed into the gate closing too with some different takes. This layer is more distorted tremolo stuff using the giant guillotine sound. I really liked how the wet drips at the end sounded, so I pretty much kept it that way apart from the tremolo. This sparkly layer is just another metal knife resonance with superplate and crystallizer, as well as Kilohertz ensemble to fill out the high end tail of the impact. Finally, this wet clicky layer is made from this wet noodle movement with a load of distortion and compression to flatten it out, and then it's being bounced out and vocoded. Here's the gate open and close all together. For the loop, I have this sub layer that's the same pitched down knife resonance from earlier, but I'm compressing it pretty hard to get the same level across the whole loop and adding some color with chorus and OTT, as well as moving the pitch up over time. A lot of these layers are made with convolution, finding interesting impulse responses and running sounds through at 100% wet, like this chord one that I bounced out with some distortion, tremolo and formant automation with Little Altar Boy. These opening and closing ones are another impulse response that I bounced out with loads of denoising and phasing. And this bright layer was made with these long crunching recordings that I kind of blurred together with reverb and more denoising. More crystallizer stuff here. I'm stacking 2 in series with the recycle dial turned up, so you get interesting cadences and really long tails out of them, with some chorus to smooth out the harsh resonances from these metal slice recordings. These 2 layers are more scanner bounces with tremolo here. I think this was from the leather rubbing recordings as source. Finally, this layer is from the Bone Dust Rush building block, being put in Serum 2's granular sampler with FM from a pulse wave. If you play the right pitch, you get these kind of transformer-like sounds. So altogether, the sustain group sounds like this. And then with some light mastering, the whole ability sounds like this. So for the Pulsar Torpedoes, they're split into kind of mech and energy layers mainly. For the mech layer, I took some of the metal recordings from the library and put them into Phase Plant's granular sampler with some FM from a saw wave and some disperser. I was actually really surprised how sci-fi they ended up sounding. I bounced out some shorter one-shots that I've just arranged around the little turrets appearing and firing. Then some longer bounces for when the ability is idling. By turning up the FM amount, I also got these little beeps which are accenting the mech stuff. So together those mech layers sound like this. These more dangerous sounding energy layers are using the same granular technique, but with the leather football rubbing recordings. Then some distortion, phasing and transient shaping to make them a bit brighter and punchier. These layers are from Kilohertz Convolver. I just found a weird sounding impulse response and then bounced and chopped up the results from that. The main sound of the shot firing is actually made up of mostly unchanged designed impacts from the library, like these rib cage openers that are used as high layers, and the brittle bone hit and flesh smack used for a really nice, powerful low end. The kind of warbly layer underneath the idle animation and in the shot as it travels through the air is made from a load of whooshy sounds from the library that I ran through loads of chorus and phasing, just messing around with some snap heat presets, and then some heavy denoising after. Then I messed around with the timings of these 3 clips to get a load of different cadences before it went through the processing, then bounced them out and arranged them like this. Then finally the hit sound at the end is just made up of these slap impacts, this little bit from the granular mech stuff, and these balloon blood splatters. So here's the energy stuff together. So here's how the whole ability sounds together. So just like last time, I want to share my general thoughts on the library. Overall, I think it's really good at what it does, and if I was working on a game where I needed a lot of gore or combat sounds, I could see this library handling that whole area very well, because it has such a wide variety of textures, whooshes and impacts. I think the library possibly leans into the hyper-processed disperser type sound a little too much, and I would have liked to have a higher ratio of cleaner sounds that are more grounded and less over the top, because I think they'd have more broad use cases, but both groups sound really good. Also, as I've shown in this video, the potential for experimentation and processing is massive, even just taking out small parts of the recorded assets and recontextualizing them in another sound can lead to really interesting results. So it's a great library to have if you like mashing together a load of pre-designed sounds into new kind of super processed source material like I've done. So that's it for this video. Thanks again to Rock the Speakerbox for providing me with the library. And again, feel free to use that affiliate link in the description if you want to try it out yourself. Thanks for watching.